Saudi Arabia on track to lift oil production capacity by more than 1 million barrels, and the EU cuts 2022 growth to 2.7% and forecasts 6.1% inflation. You're watching the Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. Saudi Arabia is on track to lift oil production capacity by more than 1 million barrels per day to over 13 million barrels by the end of 2026 or the start of 2027. Saudi Energy Minister Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman told an energy conference in Bahrain that production could reach between 13.2 and 13.4 million barrels per day. He said production could be maintained at that level once it's reached, should the market require it. The European Commission has sharply cut its eurozone growth forecast for 2022 to 2.7%, blaming skyrocketing energy prices caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The EU also forecast consumer prices to jump by 6.1% year on year, nearly double the earlier forecast of 3.5% inflation. The overwhelming negative factor is the surge in energy prices, driving inflation to record highs. The EU warned of the risk of stagflation, or intense inflation with little or no growth. Meanwhile, the eurozone trade balance swung into a record deficit in March on surging costs of imported energy. Eurostat says the 19 eurozone countries recorded a trade deficit of $17 billion in March this year, compared to a $23.45 billion surplus in March 2021. Adjusted for seasonal swings, the eurozone trade gap was even bigger at $18.34 billion in March, the biggest trade gap on record since Eurostat data started in 1999. The EU will need a few more days to find agreement on a sixth package of sanctions against Russia. German officials say an oil embargo is not an easy step and certain issues still need to be resolved, but they say they're confident there will be an agreement in the coming days. Renault has handed over its Russian assets to the Russian government, marking the first major nationalization since the onset of sanctions. Renault controlled 68% of AvtoVAZ, the largest car maker in Russia. It's funneled billions of dollars into the Soviet-era factory since the two car makers signed a strategic partnership agreement in 2008. No financial details were provided, but Russian officials said last month that Renault planned to sell its Russian assets for one symbolic ruble. McDonald's has initiated a process to sell its business in Russia after 30 years of operating its restaurants in the country. In March, McDonald's closed all of its Russian restaurants, including its iconic Pushkin Square location. As part of the exit, the company expects to record a non-cash charge of about $1.2 billion to $1.4 billion. China's market regulator says Tesla is recalling over 107,000 China-made Model 3 and Model Y vehicles. They have issues with overheating that may cause the center touchscreen display to malfunction, among other problems. The overheating could also lead to other malfunctions, including windshield settings and gear displays. The first commercial flight in nearly 6 years took off from Yemen's rebel-held capital today. The Yemeni plane carrying 126 passengers, including hospital patients needing treatment abroad and their relatives, took off from Sana'a for Amman, Jordan. Before takeoff, the plane, with red and blue tail livery, taxied through an honor guard of 2 fire trucks spraying jets of water. Sana'a's airport has been closed to commercial traffic since August 2016. I'm Ramia Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.